Hello everyone, welcome back to my craft room. My name is Whitney Lucas and I'm with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots. And today I'm going to show you how to make a cute little carrot embellishment to place on a wreath. So what I'm going to do today is I'll show you how to make the carrot that I'm planning on putting on a wreath, and then I'm going to have an additional video after this that'll show you the implementation on the wreath for Easter. It's a cute little carrot. Here it is right here. Here's the finished one. It's a decent size, made out of styrofoam cones. Let me measure it down here for you. This is about seven inches long total. And this is the end result. Look how cute that is, guys. Look how cute. So I'm going to make 3 of these and place it on a wreath. This is my first one I have made. And I thought what I'd do for you guys on YouTube is give you a much better, obviously better quality video. I am using my camera I bought specifically for YouTube, you guys. And then I'm going to show you more details so you'll get the view of my workstation. You'll see exactly how to do the carrot. And then tomorrow I'm doing a Facebook Live. So I will then upload another video showing you the carrot and the actual wreath itself. Very simple, very cute, makes a great statement. So that's what I plan on doing for you guys just right now. So you'll see this little video for the carrot itself. And then stay tuned because the very next video will be me on the Facebook Live that I'll pre-record, and then upload to YouTube for you guys to watch. So today is this little guy right here. So cute. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pan down so you guys can see my actual workstation, and we'll go over supplies. Okay, so here we go. All right, so what we're going to start with is here's everything we're going to need. So I'm going to place this cute little guy off to the side, and I'll show you. We're going to do a little bit different. None of them are going to be identical. Other than shape, they're not going to be identical. So first thing you need is a styrofoam cone. And this is a 2-piece set, 2.8 inches by 5.8 inches. If you see here, I purchased these at Hobby Lobby. Okay, so this comes in a double set. It's a very good price. If that is a interest for you, it's right here on the label. It's $4.47 for the 2, so it's a very good price. You can make 2 carrots out of 1 pack. And then we're going to need a styrofoam ball for the carrot as well. Also bought this at Hobby Lobby as well. If you see here, there's the measurements there. For that particular cone, it is a 2.8 inch styrofoam ball. You see here, that's the brand I bought, also purchased at Hobby Lobby. So what we do is we need 1/2 of a ball to go to the top of this cone to make the carrot. So this is the package you buy in order, the supplies you'll need to buy. These obviously have many other uses. I've already had some of these in my own supply. I use them for topiaries and things like that. They come in really handy for a lot of projects. So those are our main 2 pieces. You're going to need a greenery bush of some sort for the top of the carrot here. If you see here, I chose something that's kind of light and airy because you can see that, you know, a natural carrot would have the really long flowing greenery at the top. So I chose something that has a lot of movement in it. This bush I bought at Michael's just recently. Their spring bush and flowers are out right now. It does not tell me what type of bush this is, but if you see, it's kind of very light and airy. It has a lot of movement to it. It's very just cute. And then I'm able to bend some of these down so they can hang down the carrot once we've stuck this towards the top of the carrot. So there's that. You're going to need obviously yarn. And then I also have 2 different kinds of twine here I used to accent around the carrot itself once we were done. You're going to need a pipe cleaner for the back of it. Now, you don't have to put these on a wreath. As you can see here, I've already placed the pipe cleaner in it so that I can attach this to a wreath tomorrow. Actually, these are really super cute on their own. You can place these just in a basket, maybe just 2 of them in a basket, and have this to be like a centerpiece or just a little accent piece. You don't necessarily have to attach this to a wreath. But basically what I was finding is I wanted to place some carrots on a wreath for Easter, a cute little bunny theme. And what I was finding in the stores was just way overpriced, and they were kind of just all standard, a lot of cookie cutter things. So I particularly decided to just make something. And I found a couple ideas and some pictures. There were a couple different YouTube videos. You guys can go out there and peek and Google if you want. But I wanted to show you guys how I came up with this one, and then how I can implement some more ideas that maybe would help you guys too if you wanted to make one yourself. So first things first, what I'm going to do is open this packaging. Sorry if it's a little loud. So I've got my one cone ready here. And then I just need one of these styrofoam balls. So 1 second, guys, it might be a little loud. Okay, let me set that off to the side. So what we have to do is basically the premise of your carrot is this styrofoam ball is going to be cut in half and it becomes the top of your carrot. So what I have to do here is I have a box cutter or a craft knife, and I'm going to pull it out fairly large, and I need to make sure I can cut through this styrofoam ball. So what I need to do is sort of find the middle of this ball. I mean, it's an eyeball kind of thing. You don't necessarily have to really make sure you have the center. I'm going to try to use the lines here on my cutting mat, because this takes up about a full 4 squares on here, if this helps you, hopefully. So what I'm going to do is, over here to my right side, I'm going to try to find the middle by keeping my hand about steady on this line here. I'm going to make a little score here in the middle, so that shows me, if you can see there, I made that little piece by measuring with the one line I had here. And then that gives me the idea that I can place my cutter right here through the middle and just kind of work it around. I don't want to push too hard, because at some point there is a possibility that you could just bend the styrofoam. You could actually, if you push too hard on one side, you could put a dent in it, and then your carrot won't be so fluffy. So just work it around. Just be safe not to cut your fingers, guys. You could probably get a better knife at this, a longer knife, a bread knife, or something like that. This is just what I do and how I've been doing it for a while. I really don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. And then at some point, if you see after you work things through, your styrofoam ball will be cut in half. So this is what you're working with. You can kind of get some of your little pieces that may have not gotten so cut perfectly, little you know, fuzzy things here and there. Just kind of wipe those off, get that off, get all the loose ends off, set those to the side. Okay, and here's where we're getting the carrot. You guys see that carrot just kind of come to life now. So we're going to take one of the halves that we cut, and we're going to glue it to the top of this, and this makes your carrot. This is your carrot shape. Okay, so what we'll do here is, you can pick it what you want. I mean, I'm going to use both of these. So, I mean, not every carrot is identical, so it's not really, you know, catastrophic if you cut one a little bit smaller than the other. And if it bothers you, you actually have 5 more styrofoam balls in the 6-pack if you need. So here's where we are going with that. So I'll show you guys here, after we glue this down, what we're going to do is place a little bead of glue around the outside to kind of help fill that in. So just kind of lightly throw some glue on top of here. It's going to melt it because your hot glue is super hot. And then just place that guy on top there and then just hold it for a little bit. That's basically all we did. I'm just going to hold it down, make sure it has a good adhesion, a good contact to that hot glue. It looks like it's pretty good now. Pulled that right off. See that, guys? It felt good, but that hot glue was still super hot in there. So let's just hold that down like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the yarn first. At a certain point, we will put a pipe cleaner in the back, like I have here on this guy here, for hanging on a wreath. If you are not putting this in a wreath, well, you can totally skip that step. But you can also add it later if you choose to change your mind. There's not a problem. You would just basically stick your awl or a metal, some sort of metal wire or thick something through there to make a hole through it. It's really super easy to feed that through even with the yarn on it. I did that actually on this one. I had to put the awl through here on the side. It was a last minute thought. Oh wait, I have to attach this to a wreath, so I need to put these pipe cleaners on. So if it's something where you've made this for a tablescape and then you decide you want to put it in a wreath, it's not a problem. So what we'll do here is we're going to add a little line of glue right around this edge here. See some of those spaces that from the styrofoam doesn't cut perfectly? We're going to put a line of glue around that entire edge. And then not super, just don't, like, you don't have to put a ton in there. This glue is going to melt it a little bit because my glue is super hot. If your glue just completely obliterates the styrofoam, try to turn it down or use your, unplug your glue gun and let it kind of cool off. And then get that glue gun back on and use the glue right when it just first kind of warms up a little bit. Some glue guns have settings. I have a higher setting on this, but this is already on the lowest setting on my glue gun. So I'm just kind of lightly pulling it over there so it's not kind of melting the styrofoam. That is an issue. It can help. It can do that. Styrofoam is definitely not melt proof, guys. Not melt proof at all. So we put that little bead all around here on this side here. You can see that's basically a filler. You could also say it's kind of like the grout in tile or caulking in a shower, that type of thing. It's just to make sure you have a good seal, and then our yarn won't actually get stuck in that crease when you put the yarn around the outside of it. So this has to dry a little bit too, guys. And here, while this dries, I'll go over the yarn options. I've got 3 different kinds of yarn here. As you can see, these were stash busters. This is some stuff I'd used on previous projects because I also crochet, guys, and make all kinds of stuff. So on this particular carrot that I have already made, this guy here, I used this yarn. So this is sort of a different orange. So I grabbed, I just grabbed the first orange I saw, and then I decided to grab a couple different ones here too. Now see, these only differ, these 2 differ in color, but just by a little bit. This is lighter, this is a little darker, and then this one's more, it's got a little bit more red in it. If you want to make all your carrots the same color, by all means do so. It would be also cost effective if you don't have a lot of yarn on hand, because you can get a pretty good size. This Super Saver from Red Heart, you can buy this at Walmart for $1.98 an entire skein. You can also buy smaller, this is called a skein, guys, if you're not familiar with yarn. You can buy a smaller skein of yarn as well. You don't have to buy such a large skein unless you plan on making a lot. I crochet way too much, you guys. I have lots of stuff. So what I wanted to do was I'm going to do 3 different carrot colors. So since I've already used this one on this carrot, I just wanted to show you guys the color options that I used. So I won't be using this one on today's video. I'll throw that off to the side. I'm going to probably use this larger one tomorrow on my 3rd carrot for my Facebook Live. So you guys will see that in the next video after this one. So this is just the lighter color. I'm going to use this smaller, it's also a thinner yarn also. I got this also at Hobby Lobby. You guys can see here, I bought that skein. It was $2.29 when I bought it. But their yarn goes on sale periodically if you want to keep an eye out for it. And there's also other options. It's just basic orange yarn. I didn't pick anything for the size, the color, the weight, what it was made out of, wool, cotton. It doesn't matter. If you've got spare yarn, just use it. Whatever is, whatever makes you happy and whatever, doesn't break the bank, right? So I'm going to put this one away too. And then what we're going to do is, oh, hold on, guys. This is the life of a crafter. I somehow have unraveled some of that guy. Okay. What we'll do next is we're going to put this little finished guy off to the side. Don't need the craft knife anymore. And what we'll do is check this here. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good and dry. All right. So you can see here that it's still shiny, but the glue is hardened and we're good to go to start our little adventure. So I found what was easiest was, first off, find the end of the yarn. You'd think that would be easy, but sometimes, guys, here's an end. Where does this go? There we go. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Find the end of the yarn. So what I've done is I start at the bottom of here, and if you can tell on this guy here, it's not perfectly wound, perfect or straight. If you can see here, I purposely kind of did little crazy sporadic little, you know, diagonal pieces up, down, right. And then some pieces are thicker than the other. I did not want this to be a perfect project where everything is perfectly lined up. And then also sometimes that's just not possible on this type of project because the styrofoam is imperfect. It's not the correct shape all the way around. You're going to have little tiny dents. Like you can even see right here, this piece is squared off on this side, but it looks like maybe in packaging it got like a little rounded or a little dented on this side. So we're not going to stress about making sure everything is perfect. We're just going to make sure we get it covered, and then we're going to add a little character to it. That's the way I like to look at it. So what I've done here is I'm going to start a circle in my hands, and I'm just going to roll the yarn in a spiral onto itself. Just roll the yarn. If you can see here, I'm just making a spiral and I'm twisting it with one hand and holding it with the other, twisting it and holding it. So you're essentially making a little spiral of yarn, and we're going to place that right on the end of our carrot. So just keep rolling and spiraling as big as you think you need it. The only reason I've done this because this is how I've been able to get the yarn at the end of the carrot without it falling apart. It's very difficult to wind this particular type of yarn on a flat surface like the bottom of the carrot. And I didn't want to paint it. I tried painting it. It didn't work out. It didn't look good. I didn't want to have to cut a piece of paper and glue paper to the end. I just wanted it to be all universal piece of yarn. So here I'm going to set it here and take a peek, and it looks like it fits perfectly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just keep that kind of flat in my hands. And then we're going to add glue to the end. And remember, that glue is super hot, super, super hot. So I put it on there. I'm going to let it cool just a tiny amount. And then we'll place the yarn right on top of it and press that down. Just like that. So now we've got our end piece started. And now we will be able, if you can kind of see the premise, we're going to just wrap this yarn around this piece here. Now, you can periodically stop and put a little dab of glue here, a little dab of glue there. That's perfectly okay, you know, just to kind of anchor some down. Like I put a tiny little amount of glue right here is what I'll do. And then what I'll do is take, you know, you start your spiral as much as you can. It's not going to be a perfect, tight wind, only because you need to fill some gaps. You're going to need to fill some spaces. I'm just basically taking the yarn. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it here. I'm taking the yarn and I'm just placing it right above the last row, and I'm pulling and I'm twisting the cone with my left hand, and I'm just kind of guiding the yarn with my right hand. And you can see that you work your way up the actual piece. Now, if you're going to use this in an area where it might be handled a lot, you see how now what's happening is that you just twist and you'll see it becomes a second nature. You get a rhythm down and you just keep twisting. You just keep twisting. That's really about all you can do. And basically you'll get the rhythm going. But again, if you're going to put this in an area where it's going to get handled a lot, if you place it in a basket or on a plate or some sort of candle tray or something like that, for the holiday season, and a lot of people are going to pick it up, there is a possibility that the yarn can come loose. Okay, so you're going to want to use more hot glue in more places and give it, you know, you just secure it a little bit more. So just stop and put like a line of glue here, and then you're going to twist and twist and twist and make sure you don't stick your hand or your finger in that bead of glue. This is going on a wreath. This isn't, you know, something that's going to be handled a lot. A lot of times the styrofoam will naturally grab onto the yarn itself. It's not, you know, it's a sort of like a Velcro type feel that happens with the yarn. It's made of a cloth, you know, a wool or a cotton or a cloth, and then the styrofoam has these little, you know, bubbly holes in it that are kind of rough, and it will naturally hold on to the carrot. Or, I'm sorry, hold on to the carrot. It'll naturally hold on to the styrofoam. All right, so here's where we just keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping, guys. This is really all there is to it. Now, it's starting to look a little bit too perfect to me. Now, if you see here, this guy is really got lumps and It's just really wrapped up real tight. That's kind of what I like. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down. At some point I stop periodically. Okay, and I'm going to go down and just do some crazy wraps like this. Just crazy wraps. And that kind of adds a little bit of character to it. And then you go back up and start rolling with the flow of your original piece. And you can see how it kind of works itself pretty quickly. You're not really concentrating. You could do this while you're watching TV. You could, you know, do this while you're listening to another YouTube video, or while you're watching another craft video, or, you know, audiobooks, little, you know, music, whatever. You'll see that it runs itself pretty quickly when you just sit back and hold this yarn in place and then just keep twisting, just keep twisting. And then when you get to about maybe like an inch or two in coverage, that's when you just stop and kind of do a little bit of that crazy twisting, just to add, you know, I want to add character to the carrot. I don't want this to be a perfect project. Nothing about a carrot is perfect. When you pull them all out of the ground, they've got little growth marks and spurts, and some have roots, and everything's just a little bit crazy, and everything's different, and none of them are identical. And that's the best part about it, is that this is a very forgiving project. You guys don't have to worry about anything as far as, you know, symmetry. There's no reason or rhyme or reason to it, and every carrot is supposed to look different, even down to color. So that's why I chose these complementing colors, but I chose different oranges. I wanted to do a variety. So now here I'm getting a good amount of space to where this is very smooth. So now I'm going to start and pull down diagonally and just kind of do some more crazy, just up, down, left, right, go back up this way, then come back down, then go down this way. Just grab it, and in different directions. If you see, I'm just kind of twisting the yarn in a crazy fashion. And then get your yarn back up here. Actually, I have some spots here. There we go. And get your yarn back up to the top, and then just start twirling again. And then you can start to see that cute little crazy pattern on the piece emerges real quickly. So that's really all we're doing, guys. You do that for a certain amount of time, and then do your crazy. So smooth yarn, crazy yarn, smooth yarn, crazy yarn. And that gives you your cute little crazy pattern at the top. So we'll continue to just keep doing this all the way to the top here. When you get to this rounded part, we're going to need to control it a little bit differently, and I'll show you guys when we get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I'll be back when I have all this done towards the top here. Okay, so you'll just continue in the same fashion of twirling, twirling, twirling in a straight line, and then every so often stopping, and then you're going to do that little crazy up, down, just wrapping it with no, with just reckless abandon. Okay, guys, so one sec, and I'll be right back, and I'll show you how we're going to do the top of it with the yarn. Okay, guys, we're back, and as you can see, I have wrapped the majority of the carrot up to the top, where we start having the transition to the gradual rounded top of the carrot. And I'll show you guys exactly how this one's a little bit more tricky, because we have the rounded part, the yarn doesn't really stick to it as well. You might have a little bit of a difficulty trying to get your yarn to stay on the actual piece of styrofoam. A lot of hot glue is used. If you need to, sometimes you can use floral pins to kind of hold it in place. But basically, you're just going to keep going around in the same fashion you were previously. I like to use my thumb to kind of guide me, and then I'll hold it, and then I'll use my thumb again on the next round. And then what you can do is, I like to keep one side of my project facing me. And so what I do is I will place a dollop of glue going up the styrofoam, kind of like in just a line going up, okay? And that's basically where you're going to lay your yarn every pass that you make. And then you're going to have parts where your yarn comes up. This is where that whole premise of it not being perfect, or not having to be perfect, kind of comes into play. You don't necessarily want it to be perfect, because That's just not what it is. This is more of a rusticy, you know, as realistic as a carrot as it can be, I guess, because, you know, carrots aren't really made out of yarn, right? So what we'll do here is we're just going to keep guiding it and guiding it. And then, depending on the difficulty, what I may do is start at the top again. There's our last piece of glue. Got a little bit cold on us, but that's okay. This base, the base right here is basically you want to put, maybe let's try this and get some glue kind of just all over the top of it and just kind of work the project onto itself. You may have a lot of issues with burning those fingers, but that's part of the crafting issue as far as getting this yarn to stay on here. You want to get a good foundation of glue, and then once those pieces are glued in, you can kind of go back down and fill in your spaces. Kind of right at this point, we're basically twisting it like it's a ice cream cone onto itself. Going down, and then I'm going to come back up, twist and twist. And see, you're gonna, that's definitely going to happen, guys. You're going to have parts where the yarn's going to pop up on itself. Yeah, and I think what I'm going to do, guys, here is, I mean, if you have a part where you think it's starting to look a little bit too lumpy, or like, see, like back here, you might think that that's just a little bit too much. That could be the back of the carrot. There's nothing stating it has to be top, front, or whatever. What I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm just going to cut this, and I'm going to end it back here. And I'm going to start a spiral from the top going down, just because I feel like the, what I'm experiencing with the transition on the dome of the carrot on the top of here is, it's a little bit more difficult coming from the bottom up. I'm gonna go top down, sort of like how we started the end of the carrot here. We're gonna make our little disc, and then it might be easier just to set it around the top of it. So just place little dollops of glue, little lines of glue to stick the yarn into. It'll have its little fun finding adhesion. And place some more glue here. Basically anywhere I want to place creases and get the yarn stuck into that, and then that's basically where we're going to end the piece. Now these are decoration pieces, so remember, these aren't meant to be handled too much. They're not meant to be, sorry guys, I need to use my little tool here, which is just an old dowel that's used many times. It's meant for decoration, so it's not going to be super secure because it's still yarn wrapped around styrofoam, but you want to make sure that basically it's secured enough to the point where it just won't fall apart in an everyday fashion. People are going to touch it, they're going to move it. If you're using it as a tabletop piece, that's normal, it will happen. What I'm going to do is at the very top here, I'm going to place a hole. This is just a little, this was part of a pick. Like you can see here, this particular greenery has a larger metal piece in the middle of her wire. This was something that was substantial. And after I was cutting the branches off of it, I realized that this was really good. So this is a good tool to save, to use for your project. So all I'm doing is I'm going to place a hole right down here in the center. Not very deep at all. I'm just placing a hole basically, let's see. That's how far I stuck that into the top of the styrofoam ball, because I just wanted to put a marker where I plan on putting my greenery at the end. So what I want to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did at the bottom, and I'm just going to kind of twirl it onto itself, and I'm going to start like a little, just like a little disc onto itself. I'm going to create just like a little tiny circular spiral. Little yarn spiral. So you're just going to lay it on top of itself, twist it in your fingers. You see here, I'm just taking the yarn and twisting, twisting, twisting. And so you're making just like a little spiral coil in your hands. See here, that's basically what you keep getting. And we're going to glue that onto the top right around that opening. Remember, we're going to have greenery going up here. We're going to have some twine that's going to interact with it. So what I'm going to do here is just place glue around that little guiding hole that we made. And I'm going to place this right on top of that, just like that. So I placed glue around that hole, and then the spiral we made, it still has a hole in it. You're not going to get that spiral to close right up. You don't want it to anyways, because even here on the bottom, you can see there's tiny little holes showing through, and that's perfectly okay. It's not something, I see I touched the glue, guys. Oh, look at what I've done. The glue wasn't set yet, so there we go. Just don't touch it, Whitney. Don't touch it. See, we can fix it. We can always fix it, okay? So let that set, and then we'll pull those glue strings off if you guys can see those. So the premise is after this sets, you can place a little line of glue on different spots, and we're going to just keep twisting on the top of this here. So the best part is since this is dried in the middle, you can put your finger here to hold this, and you can kind of just keep twisting it on itself. Twisting it on itself. Just make sure that you're not putting a lot of pressure on the yarn. And make sure I still have my, there we go, okay. But you do want it to be just a little snug on the last row. And then if you need to, just keep placing glue in different places and then getting your glue pressed down in there. And then twirling. And you're just lightly keeping fashion with the circle that you already made. See, now you can see this is kind of sticking up a little bit. I'm going to place some glue here so the yarn lays on top of the glue. Twirl, twirl, twirl. Ooh, stuck my finger right in that glue. Twirl, twirl. Remember, if there's a bunch of like glue strings and little stuff like that, those can all be taken off once the project is finished. So just keep twirling, just keep twirling. It's kind of messy, you guys. It doesn't look like exactly the best type of, you know, the end result doesn't look like it's going to show up, but it really does, guys. It turns out to be pretty phenomenal. Pretty easy. You can start to see that it's taking shape on itself. It's laying next to itself. And it's holding on to the styrofoam, and you're getting the coverage that you want off the top of it there. I'm just pulling a little bit of glue off my fingers, guys. And then you can kind of just guide the yarn while you turn the project. There are probably some faster methods out there. This was just what I was able to come up with, and it gave me the end result that I wanted. I wanted it to look crazy. I wanted it to look uneven. I wanted it to be, you know, that little bit of weird. And then don't be afraid to unravel it a little bit, guys. If you get to a point where it just keeps not agreeing with you, there's nothing stating that you have to keep going with it the way it is. Absolutely no rule book on this here at all. No rule book. And also we're going to put twine over top of this, and I'm going to push that, I'm going to pull the twine down pretty hard. Get a tight fit on it. So not to worry as far as this coming undone. And again, use as much glue as you possibly can or want to. If you don't want to use a lot of glue, you don't want your project to be glued up, don't use glue. And see, now I'm going to kind of pull a little bit tighter on the project here, a little bit tighter, getting down into the piece that we'd already finished. And this is where the best part is that this is already going to be forgiving because we have made it kind of crazy, kind of imperfect, and that's exactly what we wanted. So now I have my pieces are kind of getting stuck up. I'm going to it's starting to pull them up. I'm going to put glue here in this crease, and then I'm going to just lay my next row of yarn right into it. And that's going to kind of secure that one down into it. I'm going to push those down into it so that yarn crease that was coming up. It's kind of all about just like filling in the gaps as much as you possibly can. And so you're going to stick your finger in the glue a lot. So if you don't have a tolerance to hot glue, you might want to use those little rubber finger grips they sell for it, because it's going to happen. That's part of this game with hot glue. Sure, you can also use craft glue. You won't get an immediate adhesion with it, but the craft glue will dry, and it's white at first, but it will dry clear, and then it's solid at that point. Once it's dry, it's, you know, it's a really good glue. It's not going to let go or fail by any means. It's a very good glue. Okay, got that glued in there, and then I need to pull the yarn up this way. Just finishing in this little piece here. We're already covering ground on this side that we've already finished, but if you see here, there's still a little gap right there, green styrofoam popping through. So we need to cover that as many times as you need to. Just keep going around and going around. It'll fill in on its own. You're going to have these little things. You're going to have like little lumps in certain places. And then when you're done with this carrot, you can pick your top, you can pick your sides, what you want to be the front or the back. Now I'm going to go down a little bit here, and I'm going to come back up. If you guys see here, I have my hand. I'm going to come back up and kind of pull it a little bit tighter. With this hand, I'm pulling a little bit tighter. And we've got pretty much the whole thing covered. Now that's a little bit ugly on this side. I'm going to use that as my back. So I'm going to cut the yarn just right back here. And pull a little bit tight. And like we finished before, I'm just going to glue it right down into the creases. And then use my little tool thing here just to get that end piece stuck on there pretty good. And then you have your styrofoam all covered in yarn, and you're good to go to start our next little step, which is I'm going to add the greenery last, only because from experience with this guy here, a lot of the twine was getting caught up in the greenery. Also the yarn too, if you have a yarn issue, it gets caught in the greenery. So put the greenery on last. It's just way easier to do that. I still have my guide hole at the top here. You can see where you place that hole in there. It still shows. What we're going to do now is I selected a twine here that I've purchased both of these twines at Lowe's, Home Depot, any kind of hardware store. You can get the twine. There's usually a rope and a chain section. You can find twine there. One of this is sisal. Actually, you know what? I have the label right here. I saved that. So this is Blue Hawk Twisted Sisal Twine. If you guys want to see that, I purchased this at Lowe's. Okay, and that's this kind of crazy looking twine. I like how it looks really, you know, like hay, and it's got these little threads coming off of it. It's very rustic, and it looks really cute. This particular item is 525 feet. So yeah, this is going to last for a lot of projects if you're only using it for your crafts. This is how I got this crazy little look on this guy. You see how all those threads kind of come off? It's super cute. I love it. So, but on this one, I'm going to use this smoother twine, because remember, I'm doing different colors of yarn. I'm also doing different texture. This is a thicker yarn, so you have a little bit thicker of a wrap on it, and then this was a thinner yarn. It still looks a little, you know, you have the same crazy little twists in it, but it is a thinner yarn, so it got a different look to it. So I'm going to use this twine this time on this guy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally just glue it to the end here. There's no rhyme or reason. It's the bottom of the piece. And I'm going to place it in a wreath. So I'm just put a dollop of glue on that, and I'm sticking the end in the glue. And then I'm going to use my little helper tool right here to hold that down while it dries. And once it dries, you guys really make sure it dries, because we're going to be tugging on this, and we want to make sure we have a good adhesion. We want to make sure it's really secured on there, that hot glue dries. Sometimes you can get the hot glue that doesn't really take too long. I buy, oh my gosh, what's the brand? AdTech. I buy AdTech glue sticks. I like the glue, the way it looks. It's clear. Even when it dries, it's clear. So, if you have fast drying glue, then you don't really have to wait this time. But sometimes I feel like, you know, the end result is what you really want to get at. And sometimes you get exactly what you put into it. So if it's something where you really need to, you know, you're crunched for time, then you could always omit this or just use a different way to adhere it. I'm not sure exactly what that would be, but hot glue is probably your best bet. I'm just going to wait for this to get a little bit more solid. I'm touching it right now and it's not sticking to me, but it is still a little wet. Okay, that's good. That's good. So if you see in here at the end, we've literally, all we've done here is just glued this right into the end of it. And that's what it's going to look like. And it's okay. I love the way that it's kind of an unfinished look. It's really kind of crazy looking. It's not perfect. And that's part of it. A lot of the stuff where you just kind of think, well, this is not exactly right, or this doesn't match up with this perfectly. It doesn't have to. And when you get done with it, you will see that the imperfections are what make things beautiful a lot of times. So I tried to concentrate here. If you can see, none of these are even. And even here, there's a bigger gap here. I just wanted it to be just a little bit different of a kind of like a hodgepodge kind of thing. So I'm going to just pull this down, and I'm going to kind of just naturally roll it with the carrot. I am putting a decent amount of pressure on this. And then at one point, wherever you're going to use I'm going to use this piece as my back. I'm going to place a little dollop of glue back here, just on top of the yarn. You see there, I just put a dollop of glue on it, and I'm going to roll my twine, my cord, right through that glue dollop. You see that? Bloop, just like that. And just keep twirling and keep pulling pressure and twirling. If you want your pieces to be perfectly spaced, then by all means stay at it. It may happen, it might not, so I'm just twisting and twisting and keeping this thing kind of tight with this hand. I'm keeping the pressure as I pull kind of away from me. Keep twisting and keep twisting. Let's see now. That's looking really good there, guys. Look at that. I'm going to unroll some more of this. And I'm going to now hold it this way. That glued back there is still drying. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Just pull that up. And what I'm going to do is place another dollop of glue back here, right on the back. You can secure it many more times if you're concerned with it. Place more glue in different areas. There's no right or wrong way to do it, guys. This is just what I came up with. If you've got some better ideas, or if you've got a different technique, share that in the comments. This is basically a forum for all of us to learn from each other. So if you have ideas, or if you have a different way of processing it, tell us all about it. And that's what we're here for. We'll read, we all read the comments, and then, we're all having the same amount of fun here at the craft table. And if you see here, I kind of undid when I pulled on that, my yarn started to kind of come unraveled. That's not a problem, guys. What you're going to do is you're going to put your glue gun right in the middle of that and run a line of glue. Let it sit on top of itself and push that yarn right back down into it. There's going to be points where you can see some glue. But again, this is an imperfect project. I want it to look a little crazy. And so I'm going to run it right in the middle of that glue, since that glue is still wet. And then I'm just going to cut it off, probably right about here. Let's see, I'm just guesstimating, because you're going to need to run a lot more glue on it here. So I'm going to cut it off right about here. And then I'll show you where we've stopped. So just kind of follow the pattern that you want it to take, and just run some glue. Run glue on the pattern you want it to take, and stick that twine in that glue. You guys can see there, I ran that glue in a circular pattern, and now I'm placing that twine in the glue. I'm just holding it down in the glue, kind of pressing it into the glue with my dowel. Sorry, didn't even see I was off camera. I'm pushing it down into the glue with the dowel. Okay, pressing it in. And then I need to curl this a little bit more, so I'm going to put more glue right here at this end. And then press that guy right into that right there. And I'm going to hold it. That's basically what you end up with. The glue is a little shiny right now because it's still wet. So there's basically what our carrot looks like now that we're done with it. So all we're going to do is add the greenery to the top and the pipe cleaner for hanging it on a wreath. You guys will see exactly how to put those in after the point. I was going to do it while I was wrapping the yarn, and then you guys, honestly, I just forgot. So you'll get to see exactly how to do it after everything's done. It's not difficult at all. Some of your yarn might move on it, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. So this glue is still drying, you guys. Again, I'm going to put the greenery in last. So basically this is the back of the piece I chose because this piece has like a little bit of a lump here in the yarn, and it's, you know, basically I just pick a side that you think is less attractive and use it as the back. So this is going to be the front of my carrot. That's cute. It's a cute little carrot. So let me get the twine out of the way, guys. And okay, that's good to go. It's dry and we're ready to rock. Okay, so the back of my carrot is, again, right here. I find it. What I'm going to do is I have an awl. This is a pretty good, decent awl. I got this on Amazon. If you guys are familiar with Julie Samako with Southern Charm Wreaths, she has an affiliate list on Amazon of her tools she uses, and this is what she suggested, and so I purchased it through her link. And this thing has been awesome in the craft room. It's just your average awl. It has a wooden handle. Anything that you can get that has a point on it. You could even use, you know, your leftover dowels. If you cut, like, you can't see I have glue all over this, but you can cut that at a diagonal to stick that through. Also, the wooden pieces, I'm sorry, the metal pieces you keep out of picks. Anything you can use to put a hole through the back of this is going to be perfect for what you need it to do. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to pick a point, probably, what is that? Maybe, let's see, if you need measurements, we're going to say it's about 2 inches or 3 inches down from the top. All right. I still want it to be in the thicker part of the carrot, not necessarily the thinner part of the carrot. If you see here, I have it more towards the beefier part of the carrot, because we're going to use that to secure it into the wreath. Okay. So at some point, I'm just going to kind of guesstimate here, and I'm not going right through the center. Okay, I'm not going through the center. I'm sticking it more closer to the top, but be careful that you don't diagonal upwards. You need this to go straight through, but it can't be so shallow that you could rip it out of the styrofoam. I know it sounds a little kind of like, it sounds a little involved, but it's really not, guys. So just make sure you're going down far enough and you're sticking the awl straight across, not diagonally up or down. You want to go straight across from however you're holding it. So hold your carrot right in front of you and pick a point that you want and stick the dowel in and just right straight across. And you'll see how it came out right here on this side. So that's basically where we're at. Now if you notice, it's more towards the back. The center would be more here. And again, they won't really show depending on the embellishments that you're going to add to the wreath, the florals and the greenery or bunnies or whatever you're going to put on the wreath. This is basically to secure the item to the wreath. It's not going to show. And then if for some reason it does, there will be ways to cover it with other items on the wreath. You guys will definitely see how I do that in the next video. So basically, we've made our hole with the awl, okay? So we're going to keep it in. I'm just going to pull it back out. I'm going to keep my thumb right here so I can make sure I know exactly where I made that hole. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of pull the awl out a little bit at a time. And I'm going to make sure I keep this piece open here because I know that's where the hole is. Okay. That's where I made the hole. So pull back the yarn, whatever you got to do. It's not bad. Then I'm just going to take my pipe cleaner and fit it right in there. and then pull the all out some more and push the pipe cleaner in, pull the all out more, and just push, push, push. And you'll see, there it is on this side. Because the awl itself is a decent size, I'm not having a problem pushing it through. If you're having a problem pushing it through, then the piece that you use to make the hole might not be thick enough. This is definitely thick enough for this particular pipe cleaner, because as you guys know, pipe cleaner is very fuzzy, but it's really just fuzzy wire. And this is definitely a pretty thick item. So look for something that's going to be substantial enough to make a circular hole for you. So basically at this point, this is now ready to be hung on the wreath. So we're done adding that pipe cleaner in. Now again, if you're not going to do this, you're not going to add it to a wreath, omit that step. You guys don't need the pipe cleaners, okay? And so now the best part of this little guy here is we're going to add the greenery. So here's my little greenery bush that I bought at Michael's. I've seen all kinds of greenery at all of the stores. Guys, you'll be able to find it pretty much anywhere you want to go. I'm going to need these here. So I'm picking pieces that kind of, I'm going to want one longer than the other. So these are two really good pieces. So I'm cutting off 2 branches here. And on this guy, I think I only used 2 as well, but I have a larger piece coming up in the middle. I just really want it to have character. I want it to kind of be a little crazy. You can always add to it more later if you want. So what we've done here is we've already got the hole that we've already made. I'm going to kind of just test it out and see how things kind of move in there. So let me push this up just a little bit so you guys can see. I'm just kind of seeing how the greenery kind of moves with the carrot and seeing if I like that. We're going to push this down much further. And then this guy I might cut shorter. I'm going to cut this one a little shorter. Remember, they're all not going to be the same, and they're definitely not all going to be perfect whatsoever. So I'm going to add glue to this guy here on the end. Now, normally I have a glue skillet for this, if you see there. And I'm just placing that right back into that hole and pressing down further. We only made that little hole probably about that deep. And that's just by design because we only wanted it as a guide mainly for the yarn disc we made for the top. So I cut that piece a little bit shorter, and I'm going to place it right here on the other side next to it. The glue I just put in there should still be pretty super hot. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to bend this down, give it some character, kind of bend it more down. This is the back, so when it's hanging on the wreath, you're going to have a little bit more movement. Now, to me, this isn't full enough. I want to add probably one more piece here to the top, and I'm going to pick something that's maybe just a little short. Let's see, guys. Oh, the yarn got stuck in that. I'm going to add one more piece, guys, and that's it for this cute little carrot. And then tomorrow you'll see me incorporate it into a pretty little wreath. So here we go, guys. I'm going to take the piece off. There's this one piece here from off of this bush. I'm going to pull this piece off right here. I'm just going to pull that piece right here. And now what I'm probably going to need to do, since this is super, super thin, I'm going to try to use a steel pick because I believe that this might, yeah, this is too thin to add in there. Let me see if that works. I'm not absolutely sure. I might be able just to kind of, no, the wire is separating from it because it's so thin. But I want this piece to come out the front. Kind of like that, yeah. I want it to come out the front like this because this wire bends down. Do you see how I can get that to bend forward? All right, I'm going to try off camera, guys. I have a steel pick machine, and it's a little heavy, so I'm not going to be able to get it on camera to show you guys. But this is what a steel pick is. It added a pick to the end of it. Basically, if you don't have a steel pick machine, what you're going to need to do then is you would add one of these wooden picks, which are kind of big. They come in different sizes, but you would then just add this wooden pick to it with these little copper wires on it. But this is just to get this little piece in the front. If you can make a little hole with like the same awl or another piece of the wire, then go for that. I want to place this right straight down, right in the front here, right straight down in the front. So I'm just going to take my steel pick, and it just makes that job so much easier. And then I'm going to press it all the way down into the styrofoam. Just keep pressing, just keep pressing. There you go. So there my steel pick is in, and it's not going to come out. And now I have this piece that kind of goes down in the front. And I got some more greenery to go around it here. If you don't think that it's full enough, then just keep adding more greenery. Remember, this is going on a wreath. So I'm going to have more greenery on the wreath. I'm going to have 2 more pieces complementing it. This one kind of looks a little bit more full than this one does. But remember, all these carrots are going to differ in size. They're going to differ in shape. See, this one looks a little bit shorter and thicker, whereas this one looks longer and slimmer. It's, again, you get different looks with the different ribbons and the different twine that you use. So these are my, my 2 guys here. I'm going to pan up just a little bit, guys. So you'll be able to see these guys tomorrow. I'm going to basically be placing them on a grapevine wreath. So we're going to be making an Easter wreath. And I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live on that. And then as soon as I'm done with that, you'll see the 3rd one that I'm going to use the other color yarn. You'll see the 3rd one on the wreath. We're going to be making that tomorrow. And I'll get that uploaded to YouTube with some pictures after I get it all edited for you guys. So let me know how you like this. Let me know if you try it or if you have any other different ideas. I'd love to hear them all. We all love to share them. I appreciate all you guys. I just hit 4,100 or 4,100 subscribers. So I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for the support. YouTube does help me out a little bit with ad revenue, so I can keep buying supplies to keep this stuff going for you guys. I absolutely love the community that we have here on YouTube, and I'm going to keep it going. So you guys let me know what you want to see, and we'll keep going. So here's that. That's the end of that, guys. These are my little carrots. I'll have a 3rd one done tomorrow, and we'll keep going on. So let me know. Until the next video, you guys all take care, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.